1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report. It is Monday, October 28th, 2019. And it's 9 a.m., well, just after 9 a.m., live in the fourth hour of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show stream. Thank you, Jesse, and thank you guys on YouTube, DLive, Periscope, and Mixer.com/JLP Talk. Thank you guys for tuning in. And also, of course, the people listening live audio on TalkStream Live. You can catch it there, TalkStreamLive.com, and then you find Jesse Lee Peterson. There is a phone number listen line, and of course, live audio via JLPtalk.com. JLPtalk.com. So, and actually, I think on TalkStream, you can find mine. My show is actually, it switches to my show. So thank you. Shout out to TalkStream Live. Thank you guys. So, yeah, it's James A. Hake. James Anton Hake. And no, it's not just a black name. My great-grandpa, Anton Peterson, I think I'm named after him. Or Anton Peterson. I don't know how he preferred it be pronounced. So, whatever. But I have some interesting news for you and a little bit of background because I was talking yesterday about this woman, Kayla Mueller, who was reportedly raped and killed by ISIS, specifically by that ISIS, head of ISIS, who has been killed like a dog and a coward, whimpering and crying and screaming, according to Trump. And so that's good justice for this woman, Kayla Mueller. And there were a couple of other Americans, a few other Americans, a couple of reporters, and another, I think, humanitarian worker, who were killed by ISIS, murdered even more viciously probably than she was. Although she was tortured pretty badly. They thought she was a spy. According to her dad, they pulled out her fingernails and stuff. Her mother, I hear, according to some of my interns and producers, that her mother is quite pro-Trump and very anti-Obama. And they were disappointed in Obama, and I'll get into some of the reasons why. But to be honest, she did put herself in that situation. And it seems to have been over a boy. A man. A Syrian man. And she was white. So, not you, Siri. So, and then I will get to calls. Appreciate you calling in. Hang tight, callers. You can call in 888-775-3773. But I just want to mention briefly, according to Newsweek, this ISIS leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, is supposed to be replaced by a former Iraqi military officer who once served under the late Saddam Hussein. You know, Bush's enemy. Bush the daddy, and then Bush the son finally killed him. One U.S. official told Newsweek Baghdadi was a figurehead. He was not involved in operations day to day, at least not in terms of planning. He would say yes or no to the ideas that they brought to him. He would just say yes or no, no planning. So there's a former Iraqi military officer who's taking over. And I guess this Baghdadi guy, he was 48, I guess, when he died, roughly. And I have some Washington Post headline fails for you guys. They're ridiculous. And Bloomberg News, too, Bloomberg Politics. I'll tell you about them. But they were kissing up to the Muslims. Kissing up to ISIS, to be honest. Ridiculous. Really evil. I'll read those things for you guys. We're showing them briefly here. But it's pathetic. Really embarrassing. And actually evil. Basically, they're serving as pro-ISIS propaganda by being so nice. Pathetic. Overly fair, I would call it. Worse than fair, to be honest. But I missed a couple of super chats yesterday on my streams. I stream on Sundays on the Hake Report channels, 6 different channels. YouTube, D Live, guys, thank you. Periscope, Mixer, Twitch, and Facebook.com/The Hake Report. Let me just read those quickly for you. I have these. Well, one of them was a Ninjagini from Noah's Ark, Kansas. Always reliable coming through with those Ninjaginis. No, didn't even give a comment. And he left in a cloud of dust. Ninjaginis are on D Live. You can give them on D Live. And then Marie Ubaldo, or Mari Ubaldo. Always a supporter. Thank you, Marie. Or Mari. I don't know how to pronounce your name. This is the first time I've realized that I don't know how to pronounce it. But she gave a super chat on my channel. Says, hey, JPL fam, meaning JLP fam. Here is a donation to Bond. Love you guys and God bless. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Marie. I will pass that on. Or Mari, or Mary. I will pass that on to Bond. So, let me quickly get to a caller or two, and then I'll get on to this Washington Post fail, Kayla Mueller's life. Her parents did some pretty desperate things trying to get their daughter back. Obama did not. And there were some things that Obama may have not done that I can agree with and some not. So, anyways, let me get to first Tony out of California. Tony, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Hank?
Doing fine. Speak up for me, man.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me better now?
Much better, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was talking about the wildfires.
Yeah, there are crazy... California is burning, and it is nuts.
Yeah, but did you hear how it got started?
No, I did not. Well, I heard there was one up north that PG&E says it may be their equipment's fault.
Well, the thing is, we have this guy from this white
You know,
guy from
Tony, you're not coming through clearly.
From Missouri. He flew into San Jose, and he sent 5 wildfires in the fall, I think in California, and then they caught him at the airport.
Wow. That was recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last week.
I did not hear that. Thank you for the tip. Appreciate that.
It was a white guy.
Of course.
His name up. If you give me a minute, I can put his name up for you.
Yeah, the whites are into fire.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah,
yep.
That's very true. There was a lot of white people do.
Anyways, Tony, I don't know what to say. We'll look into it. Appreciate the tip.
Well, I just want to correct Jesse Lee because he said the immigrants did it, but that's not true. It was the white guy that came from Missouri.
But that was up in San Jose. We're wondering what they did, who started them over here, down here in Santa Clarita and the Getty fire. So who knows?
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, not 5. He said 13.
13.
So
amazing.
13, so it might be the ones down there, too. He was sitting all over California.
He may be white, but his soul is black.
No, it can't be black, my friend. It can't be black.
Yeah, I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about his soul.
Well, when you use the word black, that's part of race. That's part of the race.
But not when I'm talking about his soul.
Well, no, it's not. It's not black. It's not a color. It's like Jesse said, it's good and evil.
Right.
It's a white, evil individual. It's not black. It's not white.
But then
white
the Bible, that's not what the Bible says, Tony. The Bible says that when Jesus cleans you, you're washed white as snow.
White as snow.
Yeah.
But there was a white man that wrote that Bible, though.
I don't know that.
Well, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
He was going on his perspective.
Are you saying they don't? Are you saying they didn't have snow in the Middle East or whatever?
No, I didn't. I'm not saying this had nothing to do with snow. Sir.
All right.
This has to
I
do
know
with
it was soot.
This has to do with your behavior and
right.
your thought pattern.
Yep.
Your thought pattern.
So did you find his name yet, Tony?
Yeah, I found it.
And cite the source for me.
Okay, let me see here. Let's see. Wait a minute.
Real fast.
His name is.
You can read?
Yes, I'm black and can read.
Right on. Did you watch church?
Gammon. It's an Andrew Gammon from
Andrew
Missouri.
Gammon, spell it. Last name, spell it.
It's Graham. Andrew is his first name.
Graham?
He flew in from Missouri. Yeah, Graham. I say Graham.
Andrew Graham? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll look into it. Appreciate that, man. And what was the
Yeah,
source?
please. And please report on that. I'll be listening. I want you to look and research it, and I want to hear your perspective on it.
All right, appreciate it. What's the source?
The source is, let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, this is Kansas City Star. That's what I'm getting it off.
Kansas City Star. Oh, so he was a Missouri man. Okay. Kansas City, is that Missouri? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you
All right, appreciate it, Tony. Well, thank you for reporting on that. I'll confirm it. Appreciate it, man. Take care.
All right.
All right. Let me get to Bobby out of Nashville, Tennessee before I get on to the show stuff. First time caller Bobby out of Nashville. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Fine, but no man is good.
Oh, yeah. I'm well. How are you?
Fine. Did you make it to Politicon? You're in Nashville.
I didn't make it. I was working, but I did catch it, some of it on, the various YouTubes and such.
You were working on a Sunday?
Yeah.
How about Saturday?
I was working then, too. I work
Dang.
weekends usually.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Are you a Christian?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay. I wouldn't say so either. No, I'm playing.
Yeah.
He didn't sound amused. Anyways, go for it.
Well, yeah, I was wondering if you saw the Charlie Kirk event at Politicon and how he basically treated Nick Fuentes and canceled his question and answer session.
No, I didn't. I'm not really into that stuff, and I don't really follow either of those people. I do know of Nick Fuentes, and I listened to, I think, to his interview with Jesse or parts of it. Seems like a smart guy. And then Charlie Kirk, I don't know much about him. I just know that he's involved, or kind of the face of TPUSA, which has fired some people that they probably didn't need to fire, but they're kind of a politically correct organization that puts gays at the forefront. This black gay guy at the forefront.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. They're kind of pushing the gay agenda on conservatives.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Open borders and stuff like that.
I didn't know about the open borders part, but it is a shame that these people don't have faith that you stand on what's right. You don't, like what Jesse says, you don't accept evil, but you don't hate the evil people. And then that's how you can overcome it. But they just, I don't know, it's a shame. And you see a lot of these so-called conservative mainstream outlets that are caving to that nonsense. And it is a shame. It's a weakness, definitely, in the culture of so-called Christians.
Did you see what happened to him, to Nick, when he was trying to go see the event?
No, Nick was down in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, he was at Politicon, and he tried to go to the Charlie Kirk talk, and 6 guards surrounded him and actually accosted him. They almost picked him up, like under his arms.
Yeah.
They basically said he couldn't go into the event.
Interesting.
And then while that was happening, basically Charlie Kirk was on stage talking about the dangers of excluding people from free speech and all that stuff. I mean, it's the exact same time that was happening. That's
pretty ironic. Man, that's a shame. I wish those guys well, but they are, you guys, I think there's a lot of people hating on these guys that are kind of weaker. They're supposedly conservative, but they're pretty weak morally on certain things. And I don't like the ugliness that happens, because there is some people that turn ugly towards Charlie Kirk and these other guys over it. Yeah. And that's like kind of repaying evil for evil, because he has the right to be evil and inconsistent, right? And you can call him out on it and say, hey, what's this about, and stuff like that. And it's almost to be expected that people who get to that, so you can call it a powerful position or a level of fame, they want to protect themselves and their image, and so they're going to be like, hey, if you see this guy, keep him away from me, stuff like, who knows what's really going on, but that's just kind of what goes through my mind. And you just, it's best not to really get into too much gossip, I don't think. I like how Jesse's almost basically like unaware of all these people and all this drama that's going on, even though like sometimes they're naming Jesse in the midst of it, like this is with a totally different situation with the other so-called conservative host and the so-called progressive host that's trying to use Jesse. I like how he kind of doesn't know and doesn't care. That's kind of the way to be, because otherwise you can easily get sucked into the gossip, and then you can't even unite with people who are, there's a lot of imperfect people that can be used for what's right. Like, for example, Donald Trump. He's working with rhinos and some Democrats and things. Some stuff, like, I don't really agree with, like this so-called criminal justice reform, this First Step Act. I don't think I really agree with what he did there. But some stuff he's doing right, and he's forcing, by being good and by not attacking people that he doesn't need to be attacking, he is only attacking the people that he's currently in a battle with, and then afterwards he's able to be friendly with them unless they're never friendly towards him, kind of like John McCain and some of these other nasty people. But Trump is able to work with evil people and imperfect people, rhinos, if you will, and get work towards good, and he calls for unity, right? And by us being, let's say, unforgiving of people who do wrong, and it sounds like some of what Kirk has done and some of what the TPUSA people have done is wrong, but that doesn't mean that you can't work with them towards something good, you know? And I think that there's a tendency to be like kind of too purist, where if, for example, Jesse Lee Peterson is like a very good friend to all races, including white people, right? And some of them will turn on Jesse and accuse him of, like, just because he's not interested in the Jewish stuff, they'll think that they'll just turn on him and attack him. When in reality, they should just be like, hey, just because we don't agree on this issue, he's still working towards good. And some people don't see that. And that's a problem in the Bible. You see it throughout the New Testament, where Paul and all these people, whatever you guys think of Paul, he would call out the churches for not being united and having divisions amongst them. And that's so unnecessary sometimes. Yeah. Anyways.
Can I give you my super hot take real quick?
All right, yeah.
So Charlie Kirk is, like, his purpose, his job is not to be a fake conservative, but his job is to infiltrate the conservative movement and to move them to the left. That's literally his job. And he's...
Where are you getting this?
Because it doesn't make any sense. He talks about free speech, but he blocks people from coming into his event, and he talks about the American identity, but then he talks about how America is just the placeholder for ideas. It's not, it's not about the country or the people. It's just a placeholder for ideas. So I get that from his contradictions.
Okay, but
anyway,
I would say you can say that, but that's not, like, you can't say that's literally his job. Like, that's what you're surmising based on the contradictions.
My hot take.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and let me just finish that thought real quick.
All right, man.
The second part of that is, like, even though he is the enemy, you have to treat him with love. You have to love him, because otherwise, at the end of the day, the battle is for the hearts and minds of Americans. And if you go in there and you're hateful and you spew hate and you're angry, then you're going to turn Americans off. You're not going to get your message through. But if you go in with love and you treat him with love, then people will see that you're authentic. You're not like Charlie. You're not, you don't contradict yourself. You're consistent. And, my message for people when we confront these people is that we should confront them with love, so that, besides the fact that it's the right thing to do, it's also very effective. And that's my hot take.
All right, Bobby. I don't know if I would. I mean, you pay a lot more attention to his actions than I do, but I couldn't say that, because a lot of what he says is really standard stuff, like those things about America as an idea that has seeped into the brainwashing of the culture, and so it could be that he's just legitimately that brainwashed to believe in the idea thing and ignore the attack on whites. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I would be a little. I wouldn't
wrong.
assume that thing about him, even if he is. You could call him weak or whatever. I wouldn't.
He seems like a smart guy. I feel like he would know if you.
No, but But look at all the smart people that are legitimately brainwashed. Like, intellectuals are the most easily brainwashed, I would say.
That's true.
Yeah,
for sure. College does make you dumb. That's
right.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyways, man, good to hear from you, Bobby. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks so much for taking the call.
Take care. I'm gonna get to the. Oh man, I want to get to this call. Yeah, let me get to this one, and then I'll get to this Washington Post. CR blank blank. Dan out of Arizona. Dan, how are you, man?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you, James?
Doing fine.
Yeah, I'm just one real quick thing. I talked to you a couple of weeks ago, and you said that you did an arts degree?
Say that again? Oh, yeah. My major was art in college.
You sounded apologetic about that.
Well, I don't know if I'm apologetic about it, but I do not see it as super valuable. I don't see it as being worth all the money that it took, you know?
So I'm here to give, to encourage you. It doesn't matter too much. It really doesn't. I've met lots of people in my life who never do their career as the same as their degree.
I agree. Yeah.
That's no problem. But what I'm really calling about is these wildfires.
Okay.
And the point I'd like to make, and I'll try and make it really quickly.
Cool.
And then if you want to ask any questions, please do.
All right.
Is something I call subversion, which is I bought a Patriot T-shirt, but trust me, this connects in. I bought a Patriot T-shirt. It didn't arrive. I looked into the company. It turns out they're using the money from people buying the shirts to go against guns.
Really?
Wow. I've just paid $5.95, and I've given money to anti-gunners, right?
Yeah.
So now when I first moved to Phoenix in 2010, and I bought my house for $95,000. I'm just about to sell it now for $400,000. So I've made $300,000 cash, which I'm moving to Tennessee because what's happened is people are coming in to Phoenix from California, and they've got different values.
That's for sure.
They come here because it's safe, the weather, there's no tornadoes, there's no forest fire. I mean, there are forest fires, but not in Phoenix.
Yeah.
They are safe. Everything works. There are not homeless people on the streets, in most places. It's nothing like San Diego or wherever, San Francisco. They come here, and then what they do is they get in the political system and start to change it.
I know.
Right? So what I'm doing is I'm taking the $300,000, we're moving to Tennessee. I'm going to reopen my firearms business, which is a factory, and I'm going to be one of the few people who actually puts money into our cause. Right, the general cause, what you're doing, and guns, but, because have you noticed there's very little money going into it from our side, James? Have you noticed that? It's all Soros and all those people. Who's the one standing up for us, even in Republicans? Can you name any?
Not really. I mean, one of those guys died, and he wasn't even particularly conservative, to be honest, especially not socially anyways. One of the Koch brothers, he died recently, and then the other one is still around. But other than that, I don't know of many strong actual conservative donors, conservative donors for what's right. I don't know any, and that's a shame. I think we should all be like millionaires and stuff, and self-sufficient and supporting what's right.
Exactly. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be, instead of living in the subdivisions, which, by the way, gets on your nerves when you start getting, I don't want to be racist or anything like that, but when you start getting Russians moving into your street who are very nasty and they're kind of like mafia, you're kind of done, right? And so we're going to be moving and be getting 30 acres, so we've got a lot of land around us. I can have my factory on my own land, defend it.
How old are you, Dan?
I'm 50, but you'd think I looked 30.
You have a family with you?
No, my family's back in the UK. Obviously, I'm
Okay,
married.
you're talking about moving your whole business because you're running a business from there in Arizona.
I closed my business down a year ago because I was using YouTube to advertise it, and then YouTube closed down my channel because I was just handling firearms and videos.
You're breaking up a bit, Dan.
Sorry. Basically,
They closed down your channel. But one thing that I don't like that's going on amongst a lot of conservatives, Dan, and you got to do what you see as right? But I don't like that a lot of conservatives are running away from the states that the liberals are invading. That's what happened in California, and that's sounds like that's what's happening in Arizona and a bunch of other states that liberals are running to get away and go to a conservative state, and then they turn it blue, and then they turn it into a hellhole. And so they're just spreading. So I like the people that stay there and fight it out. You know what I mean?
So here's the problem with that, James.
All right.
Clinton gave a load of land to the Bureau of Land Management when he signed off as a president. So Arizona's got one of the lowest private lands, land banks in America. So there's very little land. So for me to afford the land I want, I can't even afford it. It's way out of the thing. So I'm looking at places in Tennessee in the South where, like a mill has closed. So you're buying these properties for pennies on the dollar.
All right.
I believe it's a lost cause. I actually believe Arizona, it's a bit like being...
No, man. Okay. So the money thing, I understand. As far as doing the best deal, right? But picking up and leaving, that's a big change. And you got to make sure, just be sure that that's really what you want to do. But as far as lost cause, I totally disagree with you on that. Because it's not over till the fat lady sings, and even then it's not over, as Jesse would say. Because even California, I don't consider California a lost cause. We can unbrainwash a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
I met a lot of Californians recently. They came to buy a mattress off me. And of the four, one of them was still pro-gun and still understands, the situation. But California was a Republican paradise.
Right. Yeah.
It really was. But I think of it this way. I know that you're probably against what I'm saying, but I'm kind of like, where are my resources going to be best utilized, and how can I my power?
That's totally fine. You are definitely free. We'll still be friends, whatever you do, and to do what's best and what's right. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't declare it hopeless, because that's what a lot of the black-pilled whites think. The fact that whites are rapidly becoming a minority. Yeah. Don't be judging based on the appearances and the numbers. That's what the world does. That's what Satan's children do. They need the big numbers, and they believe in the big numbers, right? That's why the media is always hyping all these huge rallies by Women's March and Black Lives Matter and all those crappy people, evil people. They love the numbers. Don't be about the numbers. Don't be about the worldly things. Be about... No,
I'm not
because I'm telling you, Trump was one man, and he defeated the establishment, and he's still a threat to them. That's why they're trying to go after him. And he's just standing alone, and you realize that that's inspiring to people that have any decency left in them. And so you see a growing number of Trump supporters among all races, but among the whites especially. They're so happy to find a man who's actually standing up for what's right and not backing down and fighting without fear. And so that is inspiring to people, and that is far more powerful than just going to a place where, picking up and running from a place that's becoming overrun with liberals. That's all I'm saying. But as far as business goes, do what's best. That's you totally have my blessing on that.
But the thing is, James, one last real thing.
All right.
One last thing, real quick. There's a bigger picture. I was a heathen back in Britain, and I got into trouble, and I prayed to God, and God kind of came to me. It's not a voice; it's just a general feeling in your heart. The deal was you're going to get a new country, a new career, a new wife, a new life, but you've got to be good and honour your vows in your marriage, and that's exactly what's happened.
You said new wife, new life?
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, when I was in Britain, we're all taught to hate and fear firearms.
I know.
I had to change.
Yeah. So hold on, just to clarify, you've been married before your current marriage or something?
No. I've only been married once.
Okay. All right. Cool. Just making sure. Just clarifying. I don't know.
And I've got some good news for you, James.
Yeah.
Right. There are some great women out there who to marry. Mine one isn't one of them, but. I have met women. I'm only joking. I've met women here who, like the older school, who are absolutely amazing people.
In Arizona?
Absolutely, they're
right
Christians.
On.
They know, like they dress sort of unprovocatively.
Right on.
Like doing spiritual work, and they are genuine. I believe them to be genuine Christians.
You ever heard of Brother Dean? Dean Saxton?
No.
He's a open air or a street or a college campus preacher, and he was interviewed on the Jesse Lee Peterson show back in 2013 or 2014 or something, when I wasn't producer, but it was a tip from me. Hey, I had a tip as a listener, and he has spoken out against because they had this thing called the slut walk, and he was one of the early protesters against the slut walk and saying, you deserve rape. The way you are dressing, you are asking to be raped. And he's been telling the truth about that stuff. And he's like a millennial or younger, maybe. I think he's a millennial. But there's a lot of guys, young people, that are waking up. So it's really nice. But man, you still married or you're divorced?
No, I'm married. I'm joking. I was joking about my wife. No, I'm happily married. She's wonderful. She's fantastic.
Cool. Any white babies?
No, that's just because... no.
All right. You got to keep your life private. We
don't need to know why, right?
All right, Dan. Appreciate your call, and good luck to you, whatever you do.
Yeah. Great to talk to you, James. Have a great day.
All right, you as well. And let us know how it goes.
I will.
All right. So, let me get to this Washington Post fail. This was huge. I mean, I didn't really see it in Drudge, but I saw it in Daily Beast. And I especially caught notice of it from Mike Cernovich. She tweeted this out because he was mad about this. So Washington Post felt the need to do an obituary. An obituary is like a reflection on the person's life after that person has died, right? That's an obituary is. Just an announcement, this person has died, here's a little about their life. So here's some screenshots of the various headlines that they went through from the same article. And I started to read the article, but I haven't even bothered to read it. Washington Post really is trash. So here is the first headline from Washington Post. This was shared in a tweet, right? But this is their headline. From their original headline was, very first headline, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, Islamic State's quote-unquote terrorist-in-chief. I don't know who they're quoting by calling him that. Dies at 48. Obituary by Joby Warrick. And I don't know if Joby, come to think of it, is a man or a woman. But Joby, Joby, Warrick, Warrick. Joby Warrick. Wrote this thing, and it was headlined. Usually the headlines are written by the editor, not by the author. But I don't know. So they call them terrorist-in-chief. Maybe Joby called him that. So that's Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is the ISIS leader, was the ISIS leader. Now he's dead. He died like a dog, according to Trump. So let me show you they changed that headline to, this is terrible. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, austere religious scholar at the helm of the Islamic State, dies at 48. And now who here knows what austere means? And I did look it up. But austere seems to have kind of like positive connotations, at least in the conservative world. I don't know what the liberals think of it. The liberals tend to reject so-called austerity measures. Austerity. South America always rejects austerity measures because they love socialism. They like the government spending a lot of money on the people, right? Giving them a lot of free stuff and crap like that. Fight against fake inequality, right? So, but austere basically means like harsh or stern or strict or severe. And that kind of is accurate. That's a nice way of putting it, right? Killing people who aren't Muslim. I guess that could be considered severe, imposing stuff. But it also kind of means simple, self-denying. I guess you could consider it simple to live out in the desert, be a Muslim terrorist. I don't know if that's a simple life. But also it kind of implies sort of self-denying. And this guy didn't really self-deny, not according to the news. He was having sex with a white woman, according to the news. And I'm going to get to that white woman that he supposedly had sex with. So let me show you headline 3, because they did change it. Because that was a ridiculous headline. At the helm of the Islamic State. Sounds so official and supportive. So final headline, try number 3, right? Third time's the charm. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, extremist leader of the Islamic State, dies at 48 by Joby Warwick, out October 27th at 6:31 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So they changed the headline, and here's the explanation from their communications leader, woman, something. And here's that tweet from that woman. Do you have it? I don't know if I gave you that tweet. Okay, Christine Corradi Kelly. She's like a top female at Washington Post, saying, regarding our al-Baghdadi obituary, the headline should never have read that way, and we changed it quickly. And she didn't say what way that it shouldn't have read. Terrorist in chief, or austere religious scholar, or whatever they call them, at the helm of the Islamic State. Ridiculous. And Cernovich is pointing out that is basically pro-ISIS propaganda. They could easily use that headline to promote him as this austere religious scholar. That sounds like respectable, and he was not a respectable person. I realize that the use of the word terrorist can kind of depend on the people that want to call, depends on who's calling who what, right? They call Americans terrorists, and maybe some of it is, who knows? Because has been, over the years, a lot of evil things done by evil leaders such as Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, maybe even George W. Bush. Some of you guys really think George W. Bush did wrong. A lot of people call George W. Bush a war criminal. It's funny that they don't, some of them do consider Barack Obama the same. He was kind of worse, to be honest, I think. But they are all weak and evil, and so it wouldn't be surprising if under their so-called leadership, America did wrong. Or, under their leadership, right? So anyways, that's the Washington Post's fail. And there was another one, the Bloomberg Politics headline, promoting that nonsense too. Saying, Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi transformed himself from a little-known teacher of Quranic recitation into the self-proclaimed ruler of an entity that covered swaths of Syria and Iraq. They wouldn't cover Trump this lovingly. Ridiculous. And I don't know if Bloomberg Politics changed their headline. But I am going to get to your calls. Let me just quickly cover this Kayla Mueller's life. I have a ton of photos. Just kind of work through them, Joel, and I'll kind of cover it as you go. Here's a picture of Kayla Mueller, who was the only American woman who was killed by ISIS. I think this is the man who she foolishly followed, and he got her in trouble, and he got away, I think. So this apparently was her Syrian boyfriend. And I don't know if he was a Christian or what, but she was a Christian. And she was a pretty dedicated Christian, actually, to her credit, I guess. And so I said yesterday that these people were do-gooders. She joined humanitarian stuff. I'm showing a picture of her. She used to write these notes and do this game with a fellow inmate once she was captured by ISIS in like 2013 or so. With Steven Sotloff, who was also, I think he was beheaded. He was an American-Israeli journalist or something like that, Steven Sotloff. I couldn't figure out which one was which, right, when I showed you a whole bunch of these men that were killed by ISIS, American men, murdered by ISIS. But she was having this little game going, making the best of their situation. They were both murdered by ISIS. And so I have some photos of her parents. According to the headlines, show that one again, the Fox News one. Islamic State leader reportedly raped American hostage, and they're showing a picture of her. So according to a 14-year-old girl who was in captivity with ISIS and with her under ISIS, the 14-year-old got away, and told American commandos that she had been forced to marry, quote-unquote, marry Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Kayla Mueller, I think, was 26 when she was killed or something. And the ISIS man was in his mid-40s or so. There's another picture of her in 2013, apparently before she was captured. But she was into all this do-gooder stuff. And I call it do-gooder because it's, I don't know what you would call it. She was into the humanitarian stuff. And she put herself in harm's way by following that Syrian boyfriend and then getting captured. And she's like, no, it'll be fine. We have a lot of people around us. But she was captured. And in captivity, this guy, Jihadi John, I think he was a so-called British ISIS defector, Jihadi John, brought her into the men to try to shame the men, saying, she is stronger than you, she became a Muslim. And according to the story, according to a Dutch photographer who was also captured, she's no, I wasn't. I'm not a Muslim. I'm still a Christian. So she defended her Christian faith. Good for her on that. Defended her Christian faith to the ISIS executioner, Jihadi John. And this Jihadi John guy was doing all these propaganda videos calling out Obama and the Japanese and all those people. He was evil. There's a picture of Kayla Mueller. Just a mess. The way that she was captured. She was going to go with her the Syrian boyfriend, big mistake, over from one location that was relatively safe. There's a lot of humanitarian workers supposedly there, all the way over to another location with this guy, this Syrian Christian guy, who was going to do a job, like set up communication, whatever, equipment, something like that, over by Doctors Without Borders. And most humanitarian people were not there. And so these people were shocked, flabbergasted that she had gone over here. And so they tried to accompany her on her way back. It was like a one-day trip, right? On her way back, and they were ambushed. They were both captured. He was let go. I don't know what the circumstances were that he was let go. I don't know if this was a setup, whether he was just a foolish man who was so-called in love, and she was just apparently she was a foolish woman who was so-called in love, and she followed him and thought that it was a good idea. But they got her, they got him, they let him go. And one of the things that was pointed out, all these people some escaped and some did the bribes, basically. ISIS said to a lot of these countries, and Doctors Without Borders, some of them were captured, white women included, and others, right? Some of these people were captured and they paid ransom, but America doesn't pay ransom. And I say good for America on that, right? And the parents wanted they suggested Obama free some notorious ISIS member or terrorist guy in order to, and I'm showing a picture of the parents, and the mother is wearing this like Muslim type garb with her head covered. Such a shame. The father looks defeated, and the mother is like doing the talking in this screenshot of their video to ISIS. They're like directly conversing with ISIS, apparently. Desperate, right? Desperate for their daughter, adult daughter. But the Obama administration was not going to release a captive to free an American, right? You can't blame them for that. But it was reported by Catherine Herridge of Fox News that they did know the whereabouts of some of these people, and they did nothing for weeks because they were waiting for more intelligence or something like that. And to me, the way I read that, I don't know, but it sounds kind of like Obama's really not a man of action. And he is a coward. He's a careful person, right? And I just don't think that Obama did everything that he could to get them free. And there are things that he could have done that would not have sacrificed American integrity of, not kissing up to to terrorists, not making deals with terrorists. Could have got him, but didn't. And Trump has done what's right, and he is tough. And according to what I've heard, the mother is happy with Trump and not happy with Obama. And there's a picture of her Kayla Mueller was forced to do a 10-second video talking about it's cold, I'm scared, and it's, I don't know what's going to happen. So, and they forced her to wear this stuff. There's the mother in her normal American garb. And so good for her if she's supporting Trump now. But it was a shame to see that. You see the dad, and it's a shame. It's such a shame to see these parents pleading and begging to ISIS. See, there's Kayla Mueller. Before she died, when she was doing her humanitarian work, hanging out with all these kids, and the kids loved her and all that stuff. And this looks like somewhere in the Middle East, playing with the kids, having such a good time, right? But not a good idea, apparently. Such a shame. And America spent major money trying to get her back. And she was trying to do good, right? And there was, here's one of the so-called heartbreaking images that was used as propaganda, right? I think he was a Syrian boy or something after some bombings. And this boy looks like he's 4 or, some young boy, right? And he's all bloody on one side of his face. These are the type of pictures that are used to exploit the soft feelings of women and liberal do-gooders to go over there and help these poor people, right? And to me, that's kind of a shame that they do this and then they just end up, although they're trying to help, they end up causing more trouble for everyone, and including and especially themselves sometimes. And, we spent major money and stuff to try to get her back and failed under Obama. So that was just a shame about that whole thing. But forced into marriage and raped by the leader and maybe others. What a shame. I have more on John Conyers. I may cover him a little bit more tomorrow. John Conyers, the black guy who died. Jesse noted they seem to die in threes. People tend to die in threes. We had Elijah Cummings last week, then Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi over the weekend, and then John Conyers on, I guess, Sunday or Saturday, something. Crazy. I say that those are 4 evil people that died. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was more brazenly, openly evil. But those black so-called leaders were real evil people. Exploitative, didn't care about the blacks, pretended to. Or at least they didn't love them. Maybe they felt like they cared, but they didn't have actual love. Anyways, Rick out of Hampton, Virginia. How are you doing, Rick?
I am doing fine, James.
Right on, man.
You hear me?
Yep. What's up?
Yeah, I was about to. Can you hear me? Yes. I was about to talk about what did you hear about how they booed President Trump at the
I did.
game yesterday?
Yeah, I reported on that at the top of the 3rd hour. Hake news, not fake news. That they were cheering supposedly for the veterans that Trump was hanging out with, but when the picture went from Trump with the veterans to Trump with the Republicans, including Steve Scalise, who had an assassination attempt on him, and some other Republicans, they started to boo and said, "Lock him up." So, but it's not surprising. That's in Washington, D.C. It's a liberal city.
Yeah, one of the most liberal places in the world.
And it's also one of the most crime-ridden places in the world, incidentally.
Absolutely, yes.
Isn't that always the way with the liberal cities?
Yep, that's it, exactly.
Yep.
And And John Conyers died.
Yeah.
Look at his district is Detroit.
Yeah, he was representing so-called them. Well, I guess he was representing them for over 50 years, almost 53 years. That's older than most of us.
Yep. Probably got a fat bank account and his
show some pictures of him.
wife was
John Conyers. No, I'm just telling Joel to show pictures of him. You're talking about his wife?
Street. Yeah, she was so street. One time she got on there. I think she was getting into it with the city or something. And she called somebody Shrek and talking on streets and stuff. Like, good Lord.
Yeah. There's him marching. John Conyers, all skinny, old. But there's younger pictures of him. That's him in an official portrait. We're just showing pictures of John Conyers. Yeah, I'm not surprised that look at him. He was like a good-looking guy back then. This is in the 70s, I think, official portrait. And then he was looking more like a joke with these hippies. I don't think that was in the 80s. And then if he's the same guy, I'm thinking most of these black politicians are kind of clowns and jokes. They're like caricatures of politicians. Even the whites are pathetic. But John James Conyers, American politician from the Democrat Party, U.S. representatives from Michigan from 1965 to 2017, the end of 2017. And he was #MeToo'd, but he pretended to resign only for health issues. He was getting lightheaded, I bet. Bit by his own poison. Anyways, Rick, appreciate that, man. 90 years old.
No problem. Wow, making all that money.
Yep.
And Detroit, Detroit's so broken poor, man. I never thought I would ever see Detroit like that.
Yeah. Such a shame. That's under his leadership, too. And under the leadership of Bill Clinton, who did the NAFTA thing that hurt them. And, but scum like the socialist guy, the fat filmmaker, Michael Moore, who pretends that he loves Flint and all them. Michael Moore did this documentary attacking the plant owners for closing down the plants. But why don't you attack the source? Where is your attack on Bill Clinton? I don't know if he attacked Bill Clinton. He was a pro-Hillary guy.
And liberals, they very emotional people. They just run off their emotions. If you disagree with them, they get to spitting and and stuff.
Yep, they're pathetic. Appreciate it, Rick. Thank you, man.
No problem there, James. Love you, man. Keep up the good work, brother.
All right, you as well.
Yep.
Bye. My favorite caller, and I didn't get to her the other day, so I appreciate her calling in. Maze out of Dayton, Ohio. How are you doing, Maze?
Hello, James. I like the conversation you and the Canadian had yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that was an interesting conversation with this Canadian guy who, his friend is a big fan of Jesse and me, I think. And so he was tuning in, and he was upset that I had called Kayla. Well, he was. He pretended to be. Well, you always call me upset when I'm not necessarily upset. But anyways.
You get upset with him.
But anyways, he was upset that we were calling Kayla Mueller and them do-gooders. A lot of these people that these so-called journalists that go overseas and cover this stuff. Most journalists are liberals. It's a fact. And a lot of these so-called humanitarian workers are liberals. I don't know what Kayla Mueller is, but she did have that do-gooder bug. She caught the bug, right? She loved helping people out, and that's nice, but she got herself in trouble, and that's a shame.
Okay, so let me give my opinion on the missionaries.
On the missionaries?
The missionaries always going places. I don't understand what they're doing, why they're there, but they cause problems, too. And do you want to have a missionary, or you want to have a country where you were friends with them, and then you renege on them, and then try to destroy them? Which one would you rather? Which is the biggest, the missionary or the person that's doing business with another country as their friend? And then betrays? They're your enemy.
Well, I guess that both are evil because most missionaries, it seems like, or many missionaries, I don't want to say most, but many of them are kind of liberals. But you'll notice.
I'm saying about backstabbing your friends. They were your friends.
Yeah, that's evil too.
You were trying to kill
I would say they're both evil. I wouldn't want either one.
Okay, so that's why I say, when I say killing, stealing, and destroying, it's in y'all DNA.
Y'all DNA. Are we the white?
DNA. Caucasian
all,
DNA.
All us is in the white devil.
Let me finish. Why I say that? You want me to explain it to you? Because see, people don't explain things to you. You just come up with stuff and you don't get no explanation for it. You just come
Okay,
up
go
with
for it. Explain.
Well, I said the killing. So what was it? I mean, everybody was supposed to be jumping up and down because he was supposed to have killed somebody yesterday and supposed to be a Christian.
Oh, yeah, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi.
Yeah, that should not kill in your Bible. That's right.
Yeah, but God had King David killing people. You don't think God had King David killing people?
What?
God had King David killing people.
That's why he left you a law on this land so you wouldn't still do it.
No, he left the law before King David. The law predated King David. He said, "Thou shalt not kill," but yet he still had the Israelites killing. So now.
No, that's not in this law. You're talking about your Bible. I'm saying the law that was left on this land for people to follow.
Oh, so you don't believe that God had King David killing people?
Did he have? Was it before the law or after?
After.
No, it was not after.
Yes, it was after. Moses.
Because who killed Christ?
Moses came before David. Learn your history.
No, I don't need to learn my history. You need to know yours. But anyway, so getting back to this conservative thing, and Pat Robertson.
What you talking about, Pat Robertson?
Yeah, over in Africa stealing their goods and their diamonds and everything, stealing them and then talking
what?
about. What?
Now you're making mess. Why are you gossiping?
How you're stealing. I'm talking about the stealing part. And when you destroy.
I don't know what you're talking about with stealing part. You're just making stuff up. And it's so funny to hear. It's so funny to hear you saying y'all, referring to white people, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about stealing, killing, and destroying, when the most stealing, killing, and destroying people in America are the blacks.
And all these people that's going to jail, what are they going to jail for in that administration? Are they lying? Are they stealing? Or what were they doing?
I don't know, man.
Oh, you got amnesia now.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested.
And I wish y'all just had finished the job.
A lot of those people are turncoats, and they are not President Trump.
Do y'all hear me? Y'all get a fetish out of talking about Obama. Because I know why Trump, because he slapped him one time and he hadn't got over it yet.
No, Trump slapped Obama.
No, that time he hit him at the breakfast and he's been hurt ever since.
Nope,
he cannot
not
beat
true.
Obama because he's not that
nope.
great.
No.
So do you get it?
Trump made Obama look stupid because he was stupid.
I know y'all don't like smart people. I know that.
Yeah, we do.
Power, I'm glad
Trump is very smart. Trump is very smart. So we like smart people.
Really know, excuse me?
Trump is very smart, and yes, we do like smart people.
So. Yeah, right. If you say so, I didn't think that's smart yet.
That's because you don't have the smartness to see it.
I agree with you on one thing.
Yeah.
When you keep talking about this prison stuff.
Prison. Oh yeah, the criminal justice reform stuff.
The criminal reform on what?
Yeah. To me, that's kissing up to the blacks. That's a Jared Kushner thing. I'm not for it.
No, that's not kissing up to anything. Because
yeah, it is.
Was the one from the prison.
Then how come how come over the weekend Trump was meeting with a bunch of blacks?
Really?
And then you know who was sour grapes over it? It was funny. Who was that? Kamala Harris. She was all sour grapes, and then she refused to show up at that event. She was supposed to make an appearance too, but she was mad that.
He probably gonna try to do her like he did Nancy Pelosi.
No, she was.
James.
What did he do to Nancy Pelosi?
Homophobia, because he's gone.
There's no Obamophobia. He's not gone, unfortunately.
Killing and destroying.
He should go back to Kenya.
That's in your DNA. You don't have to go back to Kenya.
He should though.
Nobody trying to send you back no place. Him.
Good. They better not try to send me no place.
So anyway, I'm glad that the Canadian explained how he feel about what the people that we listen to, and with the anger that y'all having. As like I said, we don't have nothing to do with y'all killing and stealing and destroying.
I'm so glad that the blacks don't kill, they don't steal, they don't destroy, and they don't have anger.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Maze.
You can find the black people to blame as much as you want to. They just not us.
All right.
Look at yourself and have a good one. And
good advice.
His clock kicked yesterday too.
All right, cool.
He did. The man ate him up.
Right on, Maze. Thank you.
That's my opinion.
You have a good day.
Yeah, to the millions of whatever. Have a good one.
You too. All right, guys. Make sure that... so we didn't have church on this past Sunday, but we did have the 2009 Sunday service. Make sure that you check that out. Bond or Building the Man on YouTube. It is an excellent channel. Boost it as much as you can. Like, share, subscribe. Like the videos, comment, and support. All right, guys. And we are still doing the Bond Building Fund. And so you can support that. You can check on the progress. Go to rebuildingtheman.com. Rebuildingtheman.com. Scroll down, you'll see the info. All right, guys. Take care.